Welcome, everybody, to Tino's Time. And on this episode, your boy Tino is going to give you a home run derby prediction show. And I'm going to give you an all star game prediction show. I'm going to go over the bracket for the home run derby and give you who I think's going to win. And then we're going to go over the rosters for the all star game. And we're going to see who's in, who's out. Some players have opted out. Some players have been able to come through and been added to the all star game this past weekend. So there's so many things to talk about. We're already halfway through the baseball season. When we get to the All-Star break, that means we're pretty much done with the first half of the season. I cannot believe how fast this baseball season is going, people. I cannot believe a year ago that we were watching 60 games and the season was just getting ready to start in a few weeks from now. And we're a year later, we're already halfway through another baseball season. And as you know, I'm a big White Sox fan. I'm a big baseball fan in general. And people could say what they want about me being biased or whatever. But I just love my White Sox. And if you are a diehard White Sox fan like me, I've been waiting for a team like this for so long. But, like I said, this isn't a White Sox show. So let's get into the home run derby first, because that's taking place tonight on ESPN. And let's talk about the 8 participants that are in it. Let's start off with the catcher from the Kansas City Royals, Salvador Perez. He has 20 home runs this year. His longest home run was 460 feet. It came May 4th versus the Cleveland Indians. And his hardest home run this year of 2021 was 114.2 miles per hour on that same day of May 4th versus the Indians. Salvador Perez, he was hurt a lot the last few years, and he's coming through in a team with the Kansas City Royals that are 15 games out of the AL Central right now. Salvador Perez is proving that he might be a person in the trade market that the Royals might want to dealt, because like I said, he has 20 home runs, and yes, he is the veteran of that team, but Salvador Perez, I think he'd be a great addition for a team that needs a catcher. So, Salvador Perez, welcome to the home run derby. The next guy, this is a guy that teams are very interested in for the trade deadline coming July 31st. It's Trevor Story, the shortstop for the Colorado Rockies. He only has 11 home runs this year, but he is a great shortstop and he's had a great career, and there are many teams that could use a shortstop or a second baseman, and if he's willing to go over to a second base, there are many teams that could use him at second base. His longest home run of the season was June 20th versus the Braves. He hit a 466 bomb. His hardest home run of the 2021 season was 110.2 miles per hour on June 23rd versus the Marlins. The next guy, Trey Mancini. Speaking of stories, and we're going to talk about it a lot with just the stories that have been going on in baseball. Trey Mancini is one story. He had cancer. He was diagnosed, and they told him he might not be able to play baseball. He might not make it, and he might die. But a year, 2 years later, he's back. He's playing baseball. He's having a really good first half. The Baltimore Orioles only have 29 wins, but Trey Mancini has 16 home runs. And yesterday versus the Chicago White Sox, he came in as a pinch hitter and hit a bomb to right field. And they made it a 4-4 game, even though the White Sox were able to come back and win that game. Trey Mancini coming up in a pinch hit at bat and being able to do something like that just proves why he deserves to be in the All-Star game and the home run derby. His longest home run of the season was July 2nd at the Angels. It went 451 feet. And his hardest home run hit this season was 111.9 miles on April 10th versus the Red Sox. I cannot believe how hard and how fast these balls go out of the park sometimes. The next guy, it's the third baseman from your Oakland A's. It's Matt Olson. He has 21 home runs. His longest home run of the 2021 season was 445 feet, and that was on May 23rd at the Angels, and his hardest hit ball was on the same day, and it went 111.7 miles. I cannot believe that. And you might be saying that this list isn't very good and everything, and so far, there's not a lot of big names like Vlad Guerrero or somebody like Jose Abreu or guys guys that, guys that hit multiple, like 30, 40 home run season. There's guys on here with 11, like we said with Trevor Story. The next guy, though, that I'm going to talk about, he is one of the persons who's actually leading the MLB with home runs. Speaking of guys that should be it, like he's one that should be in it, it's going to be the showcase of the week. It's Shohei Ohtani, the two-way player from the Los Angeles Angels. This superstar, he's done phenomenal things, and he went a period of time without pitching, and he was out for a while. And as a hitter though, this year he hit 32 home runs. This guy is ridiculous. I actually think he hit another one yesterday. So I think, because I wrote this down yesterday, I think he has 33 or 34. I think he hit one or two yesterday. So it's at 33 or 34. I don't remember exactly how many he hit yesterday. But Shohei Ohtani is having a phenomenal season as a pitcher, as a hitter, and he's gonna be the biggest star in this game, in the home run derby, and he's the #1 seed. Remember, it goes by seeds. It's 1 through 8, and after I get done telling you all the players, I will go over the bracket, and I'll get in to telling you who I think is going to win. Shohei Ohtani, his hardest hit home run was 117.2 miles versus the Yankees on June 28th, and his longest home run was 470 feet versus the Royals on June 8th. But this guy has hit so many bombs, it's ridiculous, and he hits home runs left and right. The next guy, it is the defending champion, Pete Alonso. Remember, there wasn't a home run derby last year. Back in 2019, Pete Alonso won it for the New York Mets. And, welcome back. And you need to defend your title, Pete Alonso. He has 15 home runs. His longest home run this season was 443 feet, June 30th at the Braves. His hardest hit home runs was April 21st versus the Cubs with 115.4 miles off the bat. Oh my goodness. The next guy competing, there's only 2 more people. I'm sorry, I know I'm taking a lot longer, but I want everybody to know who these guys are. If you don't watch baseball, because I don't know why you want to be watching baseball, because it's America's pastime, and there's nothing else on during the summer. So you better be watching baseball and listening to your boy Tino. But the 7th person in the home run derby this year is Juan Soto, the outfielder from the Washington Nationals. He only has 11 home runs, and this is a guy, like I said, there's so many guys. Sorry, oh my God, people. There's so many. Let me make sure I get that. Oh my God, that's gross. We don't want to look at a burger on my nose the whole time. Juan Soto, though, he's had 11 home runs, and he hasn't done great things. Like I said, he does only have 11, but sorry, I got off track with my nose. There's so many other guys that could be in this home run derby that have a lot of home runs, but Juan Soto, you have some great power, and let's see if you can put on a show. His longest home run this season was 437 feet on June 2nd versus the Braves. His hardest hit home run was June 29th versus the Rays, and that one was 113.4 miles per hour. That was hard as hell. The last guy to be competing in the home run derby, it's the outfielder, and this is another guy that should be on people's trade market and that should be dealt at the trade deadline. It's Joey Gallo from the Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers aren't having a very good season, and nobody really expected them to after they traded Lance Lynn and after they got rid of a few guys. But Joey Gallo has 23 home runs, and his longest home run was 462 feet versus the Tigers on July 7th. His hardest hit home run was on April 27th versus the Angels at 114.3 miles per hour. Joey Gallo is a guy that every team should want, and you put him in right field or in any type of team's outfield, and that team is deadly. But now that I have went over all the players and I've told you everybody that is in the home run derby, let's go over the bracket and let's see everybody that will be going face to face. And the first matchup that is going to be the first seed, Shohei Ohtani, that has 32 home runs, versus Juan Soto as the 8th seed. The second matchup is going to be Salvador Perez from the Kansas City Royals versus the defending champion, Pete Alonso. The next matchup, the third matchup in the first round, it's going to be Joey Gallo versus Trevor Story. That is going to be a very interesting matchup, and I think that is going to be the one that I am looking forward to the most, because those are two guys, like I said, Joey Gallo is one guy that should be in everybody's trade market, and so is Trevor Story. So this is kind of a thing where I feel like these two guys can show what type of power they have. It would be really awesome just to see what they would do back to back to back. The last matchup of the first round, it is going to be Matt Olson from the Oakland Athletics versus Trey Mancini of the Baltimore Orioles. And in the first round, I am going to take between Shohei Ohtani and Juan Soto. I am going to take Shohei Ohtani to win the first round and move on to the second. I think he is going to put on an absolute show, and I think that is just something that everybody is going to be interested and intrigued to watch. The next matchup is Salvi Perez versus Pete Alonso, and in this matchup, I am going to take Pete Alonso to lose and get beaten out by Salvador Perez. Salvador Perez is just having a great season, and I think it's going to continue in the first round of the Home Run Derby. But before we get on to the last two matchups, I want everybody to understand the rulings of the Home Run Derby, because I don't want to get too far and everybody's like, wait, what? How does the Home Run Derby work? So let's go into the rules and how this is going to play out. The regulation times of rounds 1 and 2 will be 3 minutes. And that means they have 3 minutes to hit as many home runs as they can. And you also get a 30-second break. When you want, you could take it in the beginning, in the middle, in the end, whatever you want. The regulation period for the final round will be 2 minutes per batter. So then you have 2 minutes to hit as many bombs as you can. The timer starts with the release of the first pitch, and the round ends when the time hits 0. And then, remember, they always do these types of things, and they have these gold balls to where if you hit a home run, if you hit a lot of home runs, or if you hit a home run a certain distance, you're going to get gold balls, and then you get an extra 30 seconds. So, I hope everybody understands the rules. So, let's get back to my predictions. And as of right now, if you forgot in the last 2 minutes, I have Shohei Ohtani beating Juan Soto, and I have Salvador Perez beating Pete Alonso. So, for the matchup of Joey Gallo and Trevor Story that we just talked about and I just said, I'm going to take Joey Gallo to win this one, because I've been hyping Joey Gallo up already a lot in this podcast. So, let's take Joey Gallo and let's see him beat Trevor Story and move on to the second round. Now, for the last round the last matchup of the first round, Matt Olson versus Trey Mancini is going to be a very good one, I think. But in the end, I think Trey Mancini is going to come out, and he's like we talked about, he's been a huge story the whole season, and I just think it would be really, really cool to see Trey Mancini go on and beat Matt Olson and move on to the second round. So now for the second round, I have Salvador Perez versus Shohei Ohtani. That is going to be a great matchup, I think. Shohei Ohtani, like we talked about, he's got 32. Salvador Perez has 20 plus. And, I cannot wait to see what those two do. And I just think that would be a fantastic matchup. But as much as I want to take Salvador Perez, I think that Shohei Ohtani is going to just have some type of showcase tonight, and he's going to be the star of the All-Star game, because as we'll get into a little bit when we start talking about the actual All-Star game, he is going to be the starting pitcher, and he will be also DHing. So he is going to be able to be the two-way player that he is. So I'm going to take Shohei Ohtani to beat Salvador Perez in the second round and move on to the finals. Now, in the other matchup for the second round, I have Trey Mancini versus Joey Gallo. So, in this one between Trey Mancini and Joey Gallo, which I think would be really great and really interesting, and I think that it would only come down to like 1 or 2 home runs, I'm taking my boy Joey Gallo. So, you guys might be able to see where this is going, but I really like Joey Gallo, and I think that, in Coors Park, it's a very, the Rockies have an a ridiculous record at home, but they can't win on the road. So there's got to be something and reason on why that is. And I think that it has a lot to do with the hitting. And, the Rockies do have a few good pieces like Trevor Story and stuff like that, which I think will be out on his way out of Colorado after the deadline in a few weeks. But, I just really think that between having Trey Mancini and Joey Gallo, I'm taking Joey Gallo, like I said, and that's going to set up the matchup of Joey Gallo versus the two-way player of Shohei Ohtani in the championship. And, Shohei Ohtani, he's going to probably hit a lot of home runs, and I think that's going to wear him out. So, as an underdog pick, I'm taking Joey Gallo to hold up that trophy in Coors Park of the home of the Colorado Rockies as your home run derby champion. And I'm not going to predict how many home runs he's going to have total. I think Shohei's going to have like a total of like 50. Honestly, I think that he'll get like 20 in the first round, 20 in the second, and then get like 10. I think he'll actually eventually die out and get tired, and that's why he's not going to win it. But that's what's going to happen in the home run derby. The home run derby, used to not be exciting. It used to just be you got 10 outs, you would get as many home runs you could with those 10 outs, and it was not that interesting. But since they've done this bracket the last few seasons, I've really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people have enjoyed it, and a lot of people have enjoyed this more than they do the All-Star game because, we're going to talk about it in a second, but I just, yeah. So I just don't know. I understand why people don't like the All-Star game. So let's just get right into that because after I give my predictions on Home Run Derby, there's still another event this weekend. So now let's talk about the All-Star game. And as I just mentioned, there's a lot of players there's a lot of people and players and stuff like that don't want to do the home run derby, or they also don't want to participate in the All-Star game because they feel like the All-Star game should be like a break and stuff like that, and I understand that, but it is an absolute honor to be inducted, to be selected by the fans, the players, the coaches to go to the All-Star game. So I understand like if you're injured or like for example Carlos Correa is going to have a baby with his wife, like those are perfect examples. But if you're just tired and like you need some sleep or whatever, get your butt to Colorado and go play some baseball because that's what your job is. And it's only halfway through the season, and just because you had a 60 game schedule last year, you think that it's time to take breaks and that you baseball players don't? That's just me. But, this All-Star game, the All-Star game has always been something I've really enjoyed. I always my favorite part of the All-Star game, to be honest, people, is when they line up and they introduce all the players. I just think it's really cool to see all the best baseball players in the world in one place, and pretty much it's around the baseball field. Pretty much that's what they do. One lines up on the third base, one lines up on the first base. And I like the All-Star game. So many people could say that they don't because of the opt-outs, and it doesn't mean anything like it used to. It used to mean whoever won the All-Star game would get the home field advantage in the World Series, but they took that away, and now the All-Star game is like an exhibition. And I heard people on the radio talking about it being like the Pro Bowl, but I don't think it's gotten to that point yet, and I really hope that it doesn't get to that far because I really don't like the football Pro Bowl because it just isn't that exciting. I like the other stuff that they do, like all the games that they play and all like the 3-minute drills, all the 3-minute drills and all like the little competitions or dodgeball and stuff. I really hope it doesn't get like that with baseball because I really love the baseball All-Star game. So enough about why people don't like the All-Star game. Let's talk about the phenomenal players in the baseball season that are having an amazing first half of the season and have been selected to the All-Star game. And let's start off with the National League starters. The first baseman from the Atlanta Braves, Freddie Freeman. The second baseman, his first selection to the All-Star game, is Adam Frazier from the Pittsburgh Pirates. He is another guy that is going to be on a lot of people's trade targets. And hey, Adam, come on over to Chicago, please. Because speaking of Chicago, let's talk about Francisco Tatis Jr. He's getting the start for the National League. Congratulations. As an ex-White Sox player, I remember when he got drafted. And, as much as I hate seeing him get traded, and it hit to the heart once he became this great player that he is, you know what? Everything happens for a reason, and we got our boy TA. But Francisco Tatis Jr., congratulations on being the starter for the National League. Now, the third baseman, an ex-Colorado Rocky, returning home. It's Nolan Arenado, now known for being on the St. Louis Cardinals, and he's had a really good season this year. Speaking of guys and teams that are having a really good season, and we've talked about it in my baseball shows and stuff, it's the San Francisco Giants. Buster Posey is having a really good season, and he deserves to be an all-star and be a starter for the NL. Now, let's get to some sad news, because a couple days ago, Ronald Acuna Jr. from the Atlanta Braves was going out to make a catch, and he twisted his leg, and it looked horrible. He ended up having to be carted off the field. He was crying, he was in tears, and only a few hours later, it came out that he has torn his ACL, and he will be out 9 to 10 months. And that is a huge loss for the Atlanta Braves and the National League and just baseball in general. Acuna Jr. is one of the best young players in baseball today, and it's so sad to watch a guy like this get hurt, because I don't like seeing superstars get hurt, because, like I talk about a lot with me being a White Sox fan, the injury bug has hit us. We've lost all of our outfield, second baseman. Moncada's been on the DL. Anderson's been on the DL. Abreu has been beat up all season. And, watching somebody like this get hurt and be out for the season is an absolute heart crusher. And just as a huge baseball fan, I don't want to see it. So, Ronald, go get healthy, come back for the 2022 season, and show everybody why you were an all-star. And one day, brother, you're going to be an MVP in the National League. Now, we'll get to his replacement when we talk about the reserves, by the way. The other outfielder for the National League is Nick Castellanos from the Cincinnati Reds. He is another guy that I think should be on a lot of people's trade targets, but the Reds might be in it, and that NL Central has been owned by the Brewers so far this year, but the Cincinnati Reds are only in second place, and if they could have a good second half, who knows, they might be able to. But if they don't have a first good weeks out of the break, I might want to think about getting rid of Nick Castellanos. And also from the Cincinnati Reds, the other outfielder that's going to be starting for the National League, it's Jesse Winkner. He's another guy, great player. Cincinnati Reds are staying afloat. They're doing their best, and I just cannot wait to see what this National League starters have to offer. So now let's get into the reserves, and let's get into the players that have opted out due to injury, or they just don't want to play and they're sick, or, like we talked about a couple minutes ago, like players did this, and I just don't think it's right. But what am I? I'm just some 25-year-old recording in my mom's basement. But that's never mind. Now let's get to the reserves for the National League. For the catcher from the Philadelphia Phillies, it's JT Realamato. I think that's how you say it. I've heard it a bunch of times. I can't say his last name. It's horrible. But the other catcher that was announced, he was added, but then he opted out. It's the old guy from the St. Louis Cardinals. It's Yadier Molina. So welcome Nomar Narvaez from the Milwaukee Brewers as the replacement for Yadier Molina in the All-Star game. The second baseman as a reserve is Ozzy Albiz, another great player from the Atlanta Braves. And, the Braves just got so many great young players. It's awesome. The third base reserved for the All-Star game for the National League is from the Chicago Cubs. It is Chris Bryant. He's a guy, he had a really good first couple months, and then he had an atrocious June. Nobody could seem to hit the ball. The Cubs went on that horrible 1-13 record this past month. But Chris Bryant was actually hitting the ball, and he's somebody else that you might want to trade away at the deadline, because Jed Hoyer has also come out and said the Cubs are probably selling. And if I'm the Cubs, I would trade Chris Bryant and get as much as you possibly can for him, because you're not going to get the same type of reduction that you were going to get a few years ago, because few years have passed. He's gotten older, and his bat speed and everything is just slowed down, and it's nothing against Chris Bryant. He is an absolute great MLB player, and I cannot wait to see what he does or see where he goes, but I just think that's going to happen, so we'll have to see. The shortstop, the reserve shortstop for the All-Star game, coming in from the San Francisco Giants, it's Brandon Crawford. The other second baseman for the National League, it's Jake Cronenworth from the San Diego Padres. Eduardo Escobar from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Arizona Diamondbacks are just having an awful season, but Eduardo Escobar named to the All-Star game is a great honor, and he is another player that should be on teams' trade targets. Two more third basemen. One third baseman was added, and another person was opted out. Justin Turner was added to the All-Star team because Manny Machado decided to opt out. Or no, I'm sorry, he decided to opt in because who was it that opted out? I forgot who exactly it was, but there was a few people that said that they were opted out, but Manny Machado is in, so I got that wrong. Manny Machado is in the All-Star game. Max Muncy from the Los Angeles Dodgers is also in the game. Trey Turner, shortstop for the Washington Nationals. Mookie Betts from the Los Angeles Dodgers, he opted out. He will not play. So Brian Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates, welcome to the All-Star game. Also, Kyle Schwarber had a phenomenal run at the end of June, early July. He had 16 home runs. He was killing it, but sadly he got hurt, and now he is opting out to re-heal his body and get back because, Kyle, you were killing it for the Washington Nationals. We talked about him earlier in the Home Run Derby, Juan Soto, and the last reserve for the National League, it's Chris Taylor from the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, for the starting pitchers, I'm going to try to go a little bit quicker because I realize that this is taking a little bit too long. I'm sorry for making it a little bit too long introducing the players, but we got to do it right. There's just so many names. So now for the starters for the National League. The first pitcher is Corbin Burns from the Milwaukee Brewers. He's having a great season. Yu Darvish and Jacob deGrom have decided to opt out. Also, Kevin Guzman is out. I think he's hurt actually, so he is out of the All-Star game. The people that will be replacing those guys though is German Marquez from the Colorado Rockies, Trevor Rogers from the Miami Marlins, and Zach Wheeler from the Philadelphia Phillies. Also, Brandon Woodruff has decided not to play in the All-Star game for, whatever reason. Like I said, injury, personal reasons. I'm not going to get into every player and why they're sitting out because I don't know why every single player is sitting out. So, we're just not going to get into that. But welcome to the All-Star game, Walker Buehler. The starter for the National League, let me remind you, the starter for the National League will be Max Scherzer. Oh my God, I cannot say his name today. The other guy added to the All-Star team was Freddie Peralta. Welcome. And finally, the starter, Taijuan Walker from the New York Mets. He deserves it. He has a good year. He has also been added. For the relievers now, finally, to finish off the National League team, it's Josh Hader from the Milwaukee Brewers, Craig Kimbrell from the Chicago Cubs, Mark Malenko from the San Diego Padres, and Alex Reyes from the St. Louis Cardinals. Congratulations to all you National League stars. Now, let's talk about the American League starters and the American League's reserves and pitchers. And I'm going to make sure I do this a little bit more quickly than I did the National League because I realized I took a little bit too long. So starting off for the American League, starting off at first base, it's one of the best young players in the game. It's Vlad Guerrero Jr. from the Toronto Blue Jays. He has been a phenomenal star in the Major League Baseball this season. He's been hitting bombs left and right. If you saw that picture a few weeks ago, MLB posted it, and I also posted it at Tino Time 1996. Vlad Guerrero Jr. had to be like 15 years old at the Home Run Derby and at the All-Star game with his dad, and that is just this cool thing to see him there, and now he's starting in the same game that his dad played in. That is just a phenomenal recommendation. Oh my God, I can't speak today, people. That is a great honor for Vlad and Vlad Guerrero Jr., and I cannot wait to see what he's going to do. But the guy that is right next to him on Toronto Blue Jays, it's Marcus Semien from the Toronto Blue Jays. Him and Vlad Guerrero Jr. are going to be owning the right side for the American League. Now, for the starting shortstop for the American League, it's going to be Xander Bogaerts from the Boston Red Sox. And also, starting at third base from the Boston Red Sox, it's Rafael Devers. So it's pretty much the Blue Jays in the right field, on the right side of the infield, and the Red Sox on the left side of the infield. But behind the plate, it's the guy in the home run derby that I have making it all the way to facing Shohei Ohtani, but coming up just a little bit short. It's Salvador Perez. He's having a great season, and like I said, just congratulations. And, the Royals aren't doing so good, but you deserve it, and just you might be in the Sox division and everything, but you're doing great things, and I'm so happy to have you healthy and back in the major leagues and back in the MLB. Now, for the outfield for the American League, sadly, Mike Trout will not be participating. He was voted in as the starter in the outfield, but he is still out due to injury, so he will not be starting. The other outfielder for the American League will be Aaron Judge for the New York Yankees. And the last outfielder spot for the American League is Toscar Hernandez from the Toronto Blue Jays. The Toronto Blue Jays have like 3 starters in the starting lineup. It's crazy. And then starting at DH and also pitching for the American League, Shohei Ohtani from the Los Angeles Angels, the great two-way player that the American League and the MLB and everybody is just so excited to see. Now let's talk about the reserves. And I don't want to talk about it too much, but I don't like how some players did not make it. Like, I just don't understand. There are a lot of people on this team that deserve it, but there also are a lot of people that did deserve it that did not make it. Like Jose Abreu. He was the MVP of the league last year. He is hitting bombs left and right, or he's just started to. But he is over 60 plus home run or 60 RBIs again, and he isn't on this All-Star team. That's ridiculous. But that's just me. I'm just venting for a minute. So now let's talk about the people that are actually in the All-Star game, the reserves. And at catcher, we have Mike Zunino from the Tampa Bay Rays. And a guy, Jose Altuve, he will not play. He has decided not to play. So in his place, welcome Whit Merrifield from the Kansas City Royals to the All-Star game. Another guy from the Toronto Blue Jays, it's Bo Bichette, the shortstop. And he's done great things. Bo Bichette is another guy from the Toronto Blue Jays. The Blue Jays just have everybody in this All-Star game. It's ridiculous. It's their whole team in it. But Bo Bichette is having a great season, and, I'm all down for it. Carlos Correa was announced and was picked to be in the All-Star game, but his wife is having a baby, and he wants to be home for the baby. And, hey, I totally understand that, and I get that, dude. So, hey, go be with your kid and go be with your family. So, the shortstop from the South Side, Tim Anderson, is going to replace Carlos Correa, and he will now be on the All-Star team. Congratulations, TA, for making your first All-Star game. You deserve it. I think Frank Thomas's little rant on the one of the post-game shows did help a little bit. Also, welcome Joey Wendell from the Tampa Bay Rays to the All-Star game too. He's another guy. He's had a really good season. Matt Olson, he's in the home run derby, and he is going to be a reserve for the AL. Also, we have Jose Ramirez, the third baseman for the Cleveland Indians. Also, the guy that has taken over for one of the greatest first basemen in all time in all of baseball, Albert Pujols, Jared Walsh, the first baseman from the Los Angeles Angels, made his first All-Star game, and congratulations. Michael Brantley was selected, but he has decided to opt out too. Joey Gallo, like we talked about, he is in the home run derby, so he will be our participant he will be a reserve for the American League. Also, Cedric Mullins, Rookie of the Year right here. There's so many great rookies in the MLB right now, it's ridiculous. But Cedric Mullins, for a team that has 29 wins, Cedric Mullins can do literally everything. And when the Baltimore Orioles are good again, this man could lead the league in stolen bases. He could easily win MVP, and he is going to be a great star for the next 10 to 15 years. So congratulations to Cedric Mullins on making your first ever All-Star game. Adolis Garcia from the Texas Rangers. Congratulations for making the All-Star team too, my dude. And now the two DHs for the American League, JD Martinez from the Boston Red Sox and Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz is another guy that has been getting a lot of interest from teams lately during the trade market and during the trade deadline, and he should be dealt in the next few weeks if the Twins continuously lose. But hey, Nelson Cruz, you're going to do great things, and please hit a couple home runs in the American League for the American League, because that's the only time I'm going to root for you unless you get traded by the deadline, because you're on the Twins, and for some reason it doesn't matter what team you're on, you always beat my team's butt. So now let's get into the starting pitcher for the American League. Shane Bieber, he will not be participating. He is still injured. So Garrett Cole, Nathan Voldewis, I can't say his last name. He's from the Boston Red Sox. I know he had a good playoffs. If everybody knows who he is, I just can't say his last name. My punctuation today, guys, is awful. I'm sorry about that. But Nathan from the Boston Red Sox, congratulations. Kyle Gibson from the Texas Rangers, he was on Minnesota and he wasn't very good, but going to Texas and being a reliever and doing good things and just being what he is and doing what like the people in Minnesota thought he could do, that's really good. And hey, congratulations on making the All-Star team. Now, for two Chicago White Sox for making it, Lance Lynn has a 1.99 ERA, and Carlos Rodon has had a phenomenal season. He was almost designated for assignment. The White Sox almost did not sign him, and he's had a no-hitter. He came a guy from getting hit in the foot from a perfect game. And, Rodon has had a phenomenal comeback season, and he's proven why he's one of the best players and one of the best starters in the MLB this year. And also, Lance Lynn and Carlos Rodon are two of the four White Sox pitchers to have 100-plus strikeouts for the season already. The last guy for the American League, as in the starting pitchers, is Chris Bassett, and he will be taking the place of Shane Bieber. He was the one that would be taking the place for Shane Bieber. Chris Bassett, welcome to the All-Star game. And I'm sorry, I did miss somebody. It's UCL Kikuchi. I think that's how you say his name. He is from the Seattle Mariners. I'm sorry. Again, I can't say some of these last names. I'm awful at punctuation. My bad. But congratulations on making it to the All-Star game. Now, finally, for the relievers, and finally going to be done, introducing all of the All-Stars, it's Matt Barnes, Aroldis Chapman from the New York Yankees, even though he's had a really bad first half, or ever since they changed the rules with the sticky stuff. Ryan Presley has decided to opt out from the Houston Astros. It just seems like a lot of the Astros want to opt out. Are they tired of being booed? Well, maybe if you didn't clap on trash cans for like a year and a half and win the World Series, we wouldn't have this problem, Astros. So Giovanni Soto from the Detroit Tigers, he's had a really good season. And the last member of the relieving staff for the American League All-Star team, it's Liam Hendriks from the Chicago White Sox. He's had a phenomenal season. He's done so many good things for the White Sox, and he has been that so much good protection and just so much of that relief. And you put him in, and he's going to go out there and do your thing. So now that is your American League and National League teams, and everybody's going to start and pitch. So now that I have told you all the teams and we've done all of that, even though that took so much longer than I wanted, now let me tell you who I think is actually going to win this game. I think that, it's going to be a back and forth game. We've seen All-Star games where they have ended 3-2. We've seen All-Star games going to 14 innings. We've seen All-Star games win off of walk-offs. We've seen guys come up in the first pitch and hit a home run. We've seen so many crazy things in the All-Star game. And if you always notice, there's always a guy that doesn't start because, the starters only start 2 or 3 innings, and then they start bringing in the relievers, and they try to get everybody in the game, which is fine, do your thing. And there's so many great, talented MLB players. I think it's only right to get everybody in this game. So, in the end, I'm hoping it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm hoping 8-6. I want to see a lot of bombs. I want to see no pitching. I want to see it be like a home run derby. We get the home run derby tonight. I'm taking Joey Gallo. And then, we get the All-Star game. So let's make it a home run derby 2 days in a row, and maybe it will be interesting. But I'm going to take the American League to win the All-Star game. But, we can't say one of the starters is going to be, there's always an MVP, there's always somebody that gets a trophy, and they usually get a car, and, that's pretty cool. So I am going to come up with somebody that you would not even think of being the MVP. Because there's always a guy that comes in later on. He makes either a great play to save the game, or he comes in and hits a great RBI or a double or a home run or whatever it may be to get his team on top. And then, whatever happens, the closers come in and they finish the game off. And, hopefully this one is interesting. But I'm going to take the American League to win 9-7. I think it's going to be really high scoring. And I think that the MVP is going to be Cedric Mullins. Yes, I said it. Rookie of the Year candidate, one of the best players in the game, Cedric Mullins, is going to come in like the 7th or 8th inning, and nobody's going to expect it from the little man, but he's going to hit a bomb, and the American League might be down a couple runs, but he's going to get them to 9 runs, and Cedric Mullins is going to be the MVP of the All-Star game. And the Baltimore Orioles, they have Trey Mancini. They haven't had a very good season. They only have 29 wins, and if Cedric Mullins could go into the All-Star game and be the MVP and be the hero for the American League, that would just be awesome. And it could go the opposite way. The National League could win the game, and it could be somebody totally out of nowhere. But this is what I'm going with, and that's my predictions. And honestly, I'll never root against the American League because that's, my team, the White Sox, are in the American League. So if you're a fan of the Cubs or the Giants or the Pirates or the Padres or whoever you're a fan of, I don't expect you to root for the side or the conference what team yours in. So I'm taking the American League to win 9-7, and your MVP is going to be Cedric Mullins. So, it took a lot longer to introduce the players than I wanted, but I hope everybody enjoys the 2 days of the All-Star break, and then you enjoy 2 days with no baseball, which sucks, but everybody gets healthy. Everybody has so many injuries after playing 60 games. We've seen so many horrible injuries with Josh Naylor, with Ronald Acuna Jr., Nick Madrigal, Eloy Jimenez. Speaking of that, Eloy Jimenez started his rehab assignment last Friday in Winston-Salem. He had a bomb. He has had a couple RBIs, and he will be transferred to AAA Charlotte to continue his rehab, and he is on his way back. But also Luis Robert. We've seen Shane Bieber's been out. Chris Sale's been out for so long. We have seen so many guys that have been on the injured list and been hurt, and it's just so sad to watch these guys get hurt, and it just sucks to watch all of them, go down, because that's not fun watching baseball when all of the major leaguer superstars like Mike Trout is on the disabled list and he will not be able to participate in this. It just sucks because Mike Trout makes the All-Star game more interesting, and he makes teams like the Angels more competitive when they're not very, yes, they're doing good and Shohei's doing his thing, but do we really see them winning that division? I don't see them winning that division, but if Mike Trout was on the team, they would be so much more interesting to face the Angels and to watch Angels games. So it sucks to watch all these injuries. So I hope everybody enjoys their 4-day break, because everybody needs to get back. Everybody needs to get healthy. I want to see every team at 100% for August and September run, because I cannot believe that we are halfway through the season. It is officially the end of the first half of the baseball season. I hope everybody enjoys the All-Star game. I hope everybody enjoys the Home Run Derby tonight. And until the end of July, when your boy Tino is back for a July recap, and we go through everything that's went down in the baseball season after the All-Star game and the last 2 weeks of the season, and I'll give you a little bit of a recap of what's going to go down at the trade deadline, and then you're going to have to join me when I do a trade deadline tracker, and I will keep you updated on all the trades that are going to go down in the baseball season. So until then, and until the end of July, remember, go smash that subscribe button. Go help your boy Tino out. Go follow at TinoTime1996 on Twitter. Go follow my Instagrams, Tino Time 10 and Tino's Time Wrestling for if you need everything for baseball, football, or wrestling. Remember, go look at Tino's Time Wrestling. Go like that button. Go check out all my videos on YouTube. And until the end of July, I hope everybody has a safe and happy rest of the month. This is your boy Tino, signing out.